What's going on, everyone, and welcome back. We're up here at Southside Sales and Service, and behind me we have a brand new Assault. So Bruce and I have done a bunch of videos on XCRs and VR1 Boost, especially this year, and we've touched on Assaults and we've done overviews of them, but we've never really done like a basic setup video. So today, that is what we're doing. So we have a brand new one. We have Bruce somewhere over there, and we're gonna go through kind of a basic setup for you guys. We're gonna give you guys like tips and tricks of, you know, if you're feeling this, you're gonna wanna do that. And these are definitely a different animal than a VR1 or an XCR. This is an uncoupled skid. So there's no rear coupler blocks. We've talked a lot about that, and we're gonna get into that. We got actually a VR1 skid up on the bench to show you guys a couple things. And then, yeah, we'll just get you guys kind of going and pointed in the right direction with the setup. So Bruce, as always, is here to take over and let you guys know what the best way to do this.
Okay, guys. So yeah, on the Assault, it definitely is a different bird than a VR1 or an XCR. Obviously, you're dealing with 146 track. You're dealing with tipped rails in the rear, which means that the back wheel is up off the snow a little bit. So when you rock back, the sled tends to rock back on that and take weight off the skis. So we got two different kinds of guys that use these sleds. One is a trail guy who wants to go off trail a little bit, but he wants the sled to handle. And then you got the off trail guy, which doesn't care how it goes down the trail. He just wants to be able to stick it in the snow and have something better than if he only had a 137 or whatever. He feels like he has that true crossover sled.
And then I'm going to throw in a third guy there, a guy that is 100% trail, and they love him.
So we're talking about that third guy.
So yeah, we're talking about the third guy that is 100% on trail, and guys do love the Assaults. Then they will buy the 146 just for trail riding.
Yep. So for the guys that want it to handle, that's what we're going to talk about a little bit right now, because it is set up for kind of doing both things. It's just a matter of the guy that wants to go down the trail. It does have a little bit of inside ski lift because of how the track hits the ground, and a lot of track on the ground, so it wants to turn and go straight at the same time, and that's why you get an inside ski lift.
And a lot of weight transfer too. So
and you get a lot of weight transfer, yeah. So these units are definitely stiffer in the rear than a VR1 out of the box. The rebound is slower and they are stiffer. They're stiffer off the get-go, but they're not stiffer for somebody that hits something hard or wants to go through the moguls. It will blow right through it. So it gives you a little false sense of security when you push on the bumper and go, oh, yeah, this feels actually pretty good. And it does. It's just that it's still not made for, bounding through the moguls, because the high speed is definitely soft on these. So, and I'll have that complaint when people send me stuff. So if I was setting this up to go around a corner and be more stable, first of all, sort of like an XCR, we always have that extra 1/4 inch of threads there. We'll loosen up the collar, spin this down, and lock that spring down so that it picks the nose just a little bit. So that's one thing we'll do. If the guy's real heavy or if he's aggressive, you can put that same 125 spring on it that we use on an XCR for those guys. It comes on a cross-country sled. It'll fit right on that shock and make the front a little bit more firm, because these are the 2-inch shocks. Single low high speed in one knob, but it is a 2-inch shock, so it does have more resisting for bottoming anyway, and also gives us more opportunity to put more resisting in it because it's a larger shock.
Right, more room for activities, as we always say.
Yep.
So yeah, so front end guys, just like we do on the XCR, you run that all the way down, and then clickers. Where would you say start with clickers up there?
Commonly when they come, they're in like number 3. It's that is personal preference, but yeah, you start getting into that 5, 6, or 7 to make more resistance. It certainly can handle that. It's not like, even if you turn these all the way in, yes, you will notice them getting
very hydraulic stiff.
Yeah, but back away from that, it is linear. Other than that, kind of 1, 2, 3, not a lot of difference. Then you start gaining it. Mm-hmm. So the next thing would be is what we've talked about before as far as how much track is on the ground on a sled, or you know, if we want to pull the strap up, which we have shied away from a lot because we feel we can get the VR1s and the XCRs to turn without that, other than if somebody's real aggressive and they want to pull that strap up. And when we talk about that, we've talked about it before, but it's basically the distance between the torque arm and the bumper. So how much track is on the ground. So when you transfer this unit, you know, you hit the throttle and you go, it leans back and it literally pushes that on the ground. Well, when we shorten this, it limits how far this pushes on the front of that track, or the ball of the track basically. So we can, you know, a lot of times you got to drill a hole, but you can pull this up and gain, you know, shorten it up like a 3/8 inch, half an inch. More than that, it's a lot. But these sleds, assaults, do hit hard on that front track, so it's definitely not, it wouldn't be hard to shorten this distance a half an inch.
Right, and the easiest way to do that, guys, leave that one alone. What we've done in the past is just drill a new hole up above the back side of that, you know, however far you wanted it to go, and then run, you know, obviously put your strap, and that's going to tighten it that far. And
it's about halfway, because remember, when you're wrapping it around, if you move that hole an inch, you're probably going to gain a half an inch roughly. So with that being said, on the front of this, so, and then when you do shorten that, let's go back to this, when you do shorten that, you have to make sure that you know, if your spring setting is up like this and your spring was in here and you pull this down a half an inch, you're going to want to thread this back down again and see where you're with this at full extension, how much spring extension there are, and back it down until the spring is loose, and then go back up like 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. It's because if you just pull the strap and you pull that down, it will make the front track a lot firmer, which you don't really want on this. So you want to reset that spring so that it's back at that low preload portion. So now what that'll do is it'll get it so that this isn't hitting so hard, especially when you get on the gas. So because right now you get on the gas at all, pushes hard right here, takes weight off the skis. So we're basically shortening that strap, pulling this up a little bit, less pressure right here. And then with that being said, now it's a matter of, okay, what's your weight? Are you on medium block? Are you on high block? On the rear spring, torsion springs. So that is important, because when you pull the weight off the front track, it puts more on the tail as far as mechanical advantage. So when you're sitting on the sled, may squat more, and then it's putting track back on the ground again. So you need to make sure that
compensating.
Maybe I need a half a block, because again, you as we've said before, you got lows, mediums, highs, but you could be on medium and say, okay, I'm going to go medium high, and just offset that a little bit because you pick that up. And then that gets that sled where the track is more flat, it pulls some pressure off of this, and then it'll want to turn flatter.
And now spring wise with these, I mean, we talk about weights of riders on VR1s and XCRs all the time. So with an assault, you know, when would you say, hey, you know, you're a candidate for the extra, or the heavy duty springs that are made for the assault? Because they really have 3, but we're only one step above what it comes on it.
Right, you only have one left
right
above that. Yeah, so it's a matter of, if you do that, you know, that the guy is, if he's 230, 240, definitely needs to go to HDs. If you're lighter than that but you're aggressive, you may need to go up. But then it goes back to the shock deal, because again, the shocks actually feel pretty good when you push on them there, but the high speed isn't. So if it's somebody that's aggressive and wants to go into the bumps, there's not enough bottoming resistance. So then, yes, you definitely need to go to spring then to help make up for that. Nothing stops or resist the bottoming more than a shock that's doing it.
Right.
Not so much the spring, but
right. Which, again, if you guys are looking into getting your shocks rebuilt, Bruce does all of it. He has binders and binders full of different setups and different weights of guys and riders of guys, and he could really get this thing working properly to enjoy your season more.
Yeah, because it's just a matter of, you know, listening to what you want and I'll even call you while I'm doing it. So
Right.
it's fresh on my mind. I'm doing it right then. But that's the thing about the Assault. It's a little different than some of the other ones. The other ones, they feel soft, they are soft. This one here, when you feel it, it's like, it doesn't really feel that soft. And then, but when you start using it, it starts going through it.
It goes through it.
Yeah.
So there are no coupler blocks to adjust or anything like that. Excessive weight transfer, pulling your limiter strap will also help that.
Yeah, that'll definitely help that, and it'll help, when it does transfer, not to take the weight off the skis. And then, again, also that spring, or going for that half a block of spring, helps that.
Yeah, just help hold the back of the sled up,
Yeah,
and keep the weight on the skis.
And then the shock valving, in the end, if it's something you're doing, it also helps go against the quick transfer.
Right. So I hope that helps some of you guys. I mean, they're a great machine. I've ridden them, and I do like them. It's just a little bit too much transfer for me. I mean, we like sleds to be planted to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So it is not necessarily my cup of tea, but I know a ton of guys that get on them, and they absolutely love them, and, refuse to go back to a short track. So basic setup-wise, there's not too much going on with them. It's really, springs in the front, clickers in the front, and then your torsion springs in the back for guys. And if you do are you still struggling and you can't figure it out, and you're not happy with it, reach out to me. Be Facebook, Instagram, just put in the comments down below in this video, and I'll get back to you. And if I can't figure it out, I get with Bruce, and we'll get you at least pointed in the right direction. And that's what we're here to do, is just to help you guys out. So anything we can do to help, we're here. But I hope that helps you guys. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.